Hello students, can I get a confirmation in the chat box if you can hear my voice? And the screen is also audible. Can I get a confirmation, students,
Yes,
in the
sir.
chat? Yeah, thank you very much. So students, now a small recap of what we did in the last class. Now in the last class, we went through everything until the heating systems, and we did not come to hot air till yet. And today only we are going to do the direct analysis of the SWOT, but we did the industry analysis more in detail. So we just went through some areas and the scientific understanding of how the things work, and we understood the essential components that is needed in order to have a sustainable business process within our company. And also students, we need to understand very clearly that our industry is a very much sensitive industry because it is related to fuel and petrol also. In case of any leakages or something like that, it can cause a bigger issue. And also the weather conditions during the cold weather time, our system should be able to give the best alternative solutions as much as possible. So students, now moving forward, we just went through this global sales of domestic technology, and we understood how the electric heaters, or if I'm not mistaken, the heat pumps are slowly increasing the market share. But we were also thinking the feasibility whether is it possible in our country as well, considering the expense factor. Because if you observe the expense factor, it is 5 times greater than the gas boiler. And also students, this is what the basic way we did the strategic analysis. So whenever you are doing a discussion, you need to always think about the short term, medium term, and the long term impact. And the product decoding, if you see gas boilers, oil boilers, and then students, if you observe how it is done. So if you observe this very clearly, students, the gas boiler, effectively there is a outside thing where they store the gas. And what happens is, students, it is providing the required gas, and the heating system is also below. So effectively it goes up. And the heat pump also we were discussing, evaporator, compressor, condenser, and the valve. So just basic idea about this, because generally you need to know basic idea about the components. But the biggest challenge that we went is it's 5 times expensive. Although it is very expensive, the heat produced is not sufficient enough, and also it takes more energy and lack efficiency. And then students, we went through the application of the district heat system and how it works out, and the market structure. So 1.6 billion market, but how the market generally goes in revenue is replacement. And in simple language, they are also stating new building houses. When there is a new building houses, then only it is there. So just remember that these are the only two segments of revenue that we are generating at the moment. In simple language, not we, the market is generating. Now, students, coming into Hottayr. So if you observe the case, so let's start analyzing this more in detail. So if you see, now only we are coming more into the detailed aspect. So Hottayr was established in 1952. So 1952 to 2022, I can effectively say 70 years, right? So can I say that this organization has a 70 years trading history? So whatever said and done, the customer base is very strong and very difficult to break their customer base unless there is a disruption. Cost cutting or penetration strategy can't break a segment like this. There need to be a disruption. Example of a disruption, I can generally say like Kodak. Now students, if you go to 90s and the early 2000s, Kodak was a very strong brand, but that brand went out only because of one reason, disruption, when a Sony came with the digital cameras. So students, only way that this can break is disruption. So can I just take the SWOT analysis if I'm not mistaken? So I'll write down here, founded in 1952. Anushka, can you see this SWOT analysis also? Can I get a confirmation?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Founded in 1952. And if you observe, founded in 1952, comma, 70 years of trading history. 70 years of trading history. So that is a very, I can say, stable point, if I'm not mistaken. 70 years of trading history. And the biggest threat, if I'm not mistaken, I can write down, is a simple sentence is, in case of a new technology, in case of a new technology, there can be a disruption. In case of a new technology, there can be a disruption. So students, this is something that we need to anticipate in the examination. A new technology that is developed in the market, or that is expected to be developed in the market, which can cause a disruption. So students, I believe that gives you a better clarity at the moment in the basic sentencing. So it was quoted in Nolan Stock Exchange in 1967. So once again, it is stocked in 1967. So effectively, students, in simple language, for 55 years, this company is a listed company. So just remember, students, 55 years they have been surviving in the market means, again, that's something that is for reputation. Because students, surviving in stock markets is not easy, because you need to always respect the regulations, whatever the stock market asks you to do. So that's a good point. Hottayr was one of the first companies to specialize in boilers for domestic heating system. So once again, it's again one of their branding. They were one of the first companies to specialize in domestic heating system. So in simple language, we generally call this as the first mover advantage in the terms. Very few homes had central heating systems when Hottayr was firstly established. That is true. In 1952, I don't think they will have this technology. They would have had that, if I'm not mistaken, the wood burning, I can say, heat. So the company was one of the first to enter the market for domestic gas boiler. So I will just write down one more point of view. So I'll just write down here, the company has a trademark for being the pioneers to introduce centralized heating system. So that is one point of view. That's a good point. All are good points now. Now they are saying demand for central heating grew over time, although it was not common for central heating to be installed in new houses until 1970s. So later, after 1970s, I believe people would have had that income and infrastructure to come to that level. By that time, Hottayr was one of the largest manufacturer of gas boiler in the country and has expanded several exports markets also. They're saying more than one, that means several means they have export market also. Hottayr continues to manufacture domestic gas central heating boilers. So they are producing heating boilers, keep in mind, students. So the process is very long. So I'll write down here another strength is they have presence in the export market. They have presence in the export market. So if they have the presence in the export market, just for your knowledge, I'll just write down here, they may have forex risk. So I'll just mention forex risk. Just keep your eye on the area forex risk. Now, students, coming to the next one, Hottayr has always been involved in product development. So safety. Hottayr was the first domestic boiler manufacturer to receive safety award from Nolan Gas. So they have got the safety award from the gas provider also, and they are the first to win that. There are very strict standards governing safety of gas boilers, and Hottayr policy has always to be exceed those standards. So that's a good point of view, I can say. So I'll write down here another track record. The safety standards have been better than the market expectation, resulting in Nolan Gas Award. Students, that's a good point. We are only seeing the good things at the moment, so let's come down. Reliability. Hottayr was the first domestic boiler to manufacture to offer 10-year guarantee for the boilers. Students, a decade. The guarantee period is how much, students? A decade, 10 years. So this is a very tricky industry. The company's boilers rarely break down provided they are properly maintained and serviced. All boilers have limited useful life because of deterioration caused by heat, moisture, blockages caused by the soot. But Hottayr's boilers can last for an average of 15 years. Most competitor boilers require replacement after 12 years. Now, students, if you observe here, is this an FMCG? No. What is FMCG? Fast moving consumer good. It's actually not fast moving also. It's not slow moving also. It is, I can say, very slow moving goods. Correct me if I'm wrong, students. Very slow moving goods. Correct or not correct, students? Yes or no?
Yes,
That
sir.
means if you sell once, the customers will buy back only after 10 years. So my question to the classroom is, if you can use a product for a period of 10 years, do you think the price will be high or less? The
I
selling price will be very high, very high. Now, students, I will just make it even very clear for you. Many people don't know why iPhone is very expensive. Now, if you observe iPhone, the good thing of iPhone is updates. Now, iPhone, when you buy, you can use it for almost 7 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years with updates. But Androids are not like that. You don't get continuous updates with heavy changes. So they are charging for that after sale service as well. So if you do not mind, students, can I write that down also? The boilers are provided with 10 years guarantee. How many years guarantee? 10
10
years
years.
guarantee, and it can last for how many years, students?
15.
15 years. It can last for 15 years, whilst competitors last for how many years?
12 years.
Competitors boilers last for 12 years. Students, are you understanding that point of view? This is like the Japanese management strategy. Can you remember when you buy Sony TV, you can use it long, long time? Can you remember there was a time period
Yes, sir.
people always say go for Sony, go for Honda? The main reason is the lasting. So they have effectively captured the market by making sure that their product has a very strong presence. So only way to break this product is disruption. Can you all remember, students, Nokia 1100 mobile phone? Whatever happened, it won't break. So students, that is the concept here. Now, efficiency. Hottayr's boilers designs have, yeah.
So can I say like giving 10 years warranty could be risky?
In the point of why?
So because over the 10 years, there are chances that, like it has been said that if
Mhm.
boilers are not well maintained, that it could break. And in case like it is important for the boilers, not even the boilers, a lot of things have to be maintained properly. If not, if burst or it happens to burst, we would have to pay a lot of compensation, sir. So
No,
isn't no,
no.
sir?
I'll make it very clear. Now, if you see, Monica, in your house, you may have in Asian countries, they may have something called water tank. Have you observed that?
Yes, sir.
They may have this water tank where from the pipe water, it will also save some water from the, I can say, the tube well. The groundwater, it is connected to the water tank. Correct? Certain houses.
Yes, yes, sir.
Now, this water tank, how many years you can use? General question. You can use again for 10 years to 15
Yes,
years.
sir. Yes,
That is
sir.
the truth. Now the factor comes here is, now here the water tank in case is leaking because of your poor maintenance, actually you are responsible for that. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Monica?
Oh, okay,
Sorry,
sir.
are you understanding, Anushka, what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Yes, sir. So you
Now
mean that consumers can't make a claim?
consumers can't make a claim because they
Oh,
are saying consumers need to have that, I can say, awareness of how to maintain it.
oh,
You get what
okay.
I'm saying? Now
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it is now like buying a car. Now certain cars, they give you mileage guarantee. Have you observed for the first
Yes, sir.
20,000 kilometers this? But if you are causing an accident and you are asking for a warranty claim, will they give anything? I don't
No,
think
sir.
so, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I believe that is clear.
Yes,
And
sir.
one thing, just remember, when was this company established? 1952.
52. Yes, sir.
1952 to 2022, if their products are lasting 10 years, that means, Anushka, you need to understand they have created an industry standard. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So students, this we call this as the industry standard. This is the reality. Now, I don't know, I'll just ask the students now. Anushka, do you have a sewing machine in your house? Or no,
No,
right?
sir. No.
No. If you go to the old houses, they generally have sewing machine. Every houses will have. And sewing machine, you can use it for again 10 to 15 years. And again, it's the industry standard that they have developed. I believe everyone is fine with that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is one thing. So students, business valuation, I'll write down a small point here. In F3, there is a topic called business valuation. In business valuation, students, when you are doing, there is something called CIV. Just make a note of that. CIV stands for, can someone tell in the chat box what does CIV stands for? Anyone? Calculated intangible value.
Intangible value.
Calculated intangible value. Now, how do you do calculated intangible value? You compare your product quality with your competitors' products. Are you understanding how it is done? This can be used when you are writing an answer, because 3 years extra life it is giving, students. 3 years extra life it is giving compared to the rest of the products. Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? If you are understanding it very clearly, get it down the application very well. 10 years guarantee founded in 1952. It's founded in 1952. It goes in that perspective, students. It's a very, very, I can say, a different case, but get the application well.
So can you explain the 3 years once? Like how
Yeah,
intangible?
very clear. No, now if you see competitors' products are lasting for 12 years and your
Yes, sir.
product is lasting for 15 years,
Yes.
so the incremental time period is 3 years. So that 3 years is indirectly creating an intangible value. Are you understanding that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that is how the intangible valuation is done. How long your product can last
Last.
is also one factor, but it is not a financial factor. It is a
Yes, sir.
non-financial factor. But although it's a non-financial factor, it is a measurable non-financial factor, because 3 years is a quantity in simple language. So this is one method of observing that.
Yes, sir.
Students, efficiency. Hottayr's boilers design have constantly evolved to use less gas, making them cheaper to run and more environmentally friendly. Hottayr patented several features that enable its boiling to create more heat energy from burning a given volume of gas, and also waste less heat in bringing water up to the desired temperature. So students, in simple language, there is still a question of this product. Do we need to eliminate this product or no? Because even if you say, as a consumer, this cheaper to run is also one factor to be considered, practically speaking. And environmental friendly is also one more factor to be considered. And the other biggest factor is they have already patented their several features as well. So effectively, it clearly shows they are almost like a lion's pride in Norland. Correct me if I'm wrong, students. Yes or no?
Yes,
It's
sir.
like a lion's pride, right? They are having overall everything in simple language. So I'll just write down this also. The company is having high level of efficiency, high level of efficiency in the gas usage, which is a factor to be considered. Now, students, if you observe certain cars like Nissan, people don't buy Nissan cars. The reason is petrol consumption is very, very high in Nissan cars when compared with Toyota. So that is again intangible factors that we need to consider. So safety, reliability, and efficiency, these are the three major things that they have been concerned when they are developing the product, if I'm not mistaken. Now, other factors that they can consider is like design. Now, houses, rich people houses, posh people, do they also prefer designs also? Yes or no, Anushka? Because
Yes, sir.
certain designs they will like it, right? Because
Yes.
you can be proud that this is there. So that is one more thing. And the other thing is, if I'm not mistaken, they have not yet adapted technology or digital technology in their main product. Because understand it very clearly, the controllers are not produced by us. It is separate, correct?
Yes,
But
sir.
in future, we can have technology that will monitor the efficiency rate. Example, the gas rate. Now, we can have artificial intelligence, which is adapted to the gas boiler, where based on the climate, it will adjust the gas consumption. Are you getting that point of view? So there is some new technologies also you can adapt into this system. So can I get a confirmation? These are like new things that we can consider also.
Yes,
So
sir.
one thing I have observed is this company is effectively dominating the market. Hottayr's gas boiler factory is located outskirt of Norland's central city. So the boiler factory is located outside outskirt the Norland central city. The factory has 3,800 staff. Many production processes are automated. Large proportion of factory staffs engage on quality control activities arising from the need to prevent gas leaks in consumers' homes. So effectively, their staffs are involved in the quality control and safety assurance, and I can say still that is a good objective because mostly things are automated, but still quality and the safety has an issue. Later there will be a huge reputation loss for the organization. So students, if you do not mind, I will just write down here a factory outskirt of the central city, very close to the central city, with 3,800 staffs who are engaging in quality control. And the other one, if I'm not mistaken, is most of the process is automated. Now, I can say there can be an opportunity also. Since most of the things are automated, uh, downsizing the staffs to enhance the financial wealth of shareholders. This can be one point of view as well. Now, this can turn out to be a threat if it is not properly done. I'll tell you why. Downsizing is always legal. Correct, no, students? Yes or no?
Yes,
because
sir.
you are living in a capitalistic world. But I can just write down here unplanned redundancy. Unplanned redundancy can cause negative media publicity. Just me aware about these factors also, students, can cause negative media publicity. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are understanding this point of view very clearly? Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are getting that? Excellent. So students understand it, downsizing is legal, but unplanned downsizing is a, I can say, negative reputation only. Hottayr commenced production of heat pumps for domestic heating system in 1997. So effectively, students, 1997 means for how many years they are producing heat pumps? 25 years. I cannot say they are amateur. I am sure that they have experience now. So can I write that also a strength? Sorry. Heat pumps were manufactured from 1997. Therefore, 25 years. Therefore, 25 years of industry, what students? Exposure. Makes sense or doesn't make sense? Makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So let's go and see how are they doing in this also. This was regarded as a risky venture at the time because demand was very limited. But one thing they have experienced, even Anushka, in 1952,
Yes, sir.
although they commenced their business, the real demand started in 1970, right? Can
Yes,
you
sir.
remember? So they have got that experience of 18 years on testing the level or the depth of the water in the ocean where they are entering.
Yes,
However,
sir.
growing concern about emission and the need to protect environment created the interest. Some early adopter consumers have replaced their gas boilers with heat pumps, despite the significant cost of doing so. Hottayr's main market for heat pumps has been house builders who often install heat pumps in new homes under construction. Consumers regard this as an attractive feature when buying a new build house because they offer lower running cost. That is what it is effectively mentioned. But as per the industry data, Anushka, can you remember the running cost is also a little higher? Yes or no, Anushka? Makes sense, no?
No,
Now,
sir. In the industry also they said the running cost was low only, sir.
for heat pump,
Yes, sir. They only said the installation was costly, but running.
five times costly and 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Just reconfirmation. If you say 5 times costly and electricity consumption is there, can you remember? There's a electricity consumption during
Uh,
the,
yes, sir. But they said still overall efficiency was better than the gas boilers, sir.
but 10
I,
times less heat. No, can you remember that
oh,
also?
oh, okay. Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
Can
sir.
can you remember that discussion we made that day?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah,
about
no,
that.
that,
Yes,
that no. So the problem is, Anushka, is this is a new product. That means
yes,
let's assume they are using again like once in 10 years. Okay,
yes,
just
sir.
a basic idea. People who bought this in 1997, their first replacement will be on 2007,
Sir.
assuming 10 years guarantee.
Yes, sir.
Their second replacement will be on 2017.
17.
So this is the first generation product, correct? No,
Yes, sir.
this is the second generation product.
Generation product.
And now we are in the third generation.
Yes, sir.
Students, if you don't mind, can you make a note about that first generation, second generation, third generation? That estimation is very critical because now we are in the third generation. So I can say, Anushka, you are correct actually, because third generation, if they are happy, I can say okay. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Third generation is happy means I can predictly say not best but satisfied. Correct, no, Anushka? That's
Yes,
how no,
sir.
we analyze the market.
Yes,
So
sir.
there is not an issue there. Students understand it properly. So industry analysis says it is not, but sometimes market will accept. Example, Anushka, basic thing. Sometimes have you observed? Industry will say this movie is not good, but people will watch that movie. Have you
Yes, sir.
observed that?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so similarly, students, industry can say something, but the market can say something also because market can be satisfied. Now, students, coming to the next one, all Hottayr heat pumps are air source. Now, there are different types of heat pumps. This is directly air source, but the biggest problem in air source is it needs heat. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
There is insufficient demand for ground source heat pumps just to justify investment that would be required for their development and manufacture. So until now, ground source heat pump has not yet come because of the development and manufacturing cost. That means it's not that the customer cannot afford it. Customer can afford it, but in this industry, the manufacturing cost will be high. Are you understanding what I'm saying, student?
Yes,
So
sir.
can there be a threat, a competitor coming with ground source heat pump? Possible or
Y-
not possible?
Possible, sir.
Possible. No, students, can I just write down a threat that can happen? Ground source heat pump can be developed by a rival. Ground source heat pump can be developed by a rival. Students, I believe you are getting that clarity. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students, if you got that point? Because that is a bigger threat. We are not having that, they are not taking that risk. Game theory, they say. So just make sure that it is done. Hottayr heat pumps are subjected to same attention to development and improvement as its gas boiler. So they already have a good attention to the market also, similar to the gas boiler. So if you see consumer feedback, so these are the other aspects that the company generally focuses on. Hottayr pays close attention to the feedback from consumer, particularly with regards to whether their heat pumps are providing sufficient hot water and maintaining homes at comfortable temperature. This feedback is important element for ongoing product development. Now, the question arises in this, Anushka, is if you observe this very clearly, how do they take customer feedback? Did they
Mm.
mention that?
No, sir.
How do they take? Because 10 years they need to take, but how do they take? Do they have an online portal, something like that? Are they directly going and taking? Do they have a website, anything like that? So can I just write down a skeptical question? There can be bogus report also, right? Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
Consumer feedback mechanism is not transparent. Is not
Um,
transparent. Now, students, I just went to Marks and Spencer. So what happens is, Anushka, in the
yes,
bill,
sir.
they have mentioned if you tell feedback, you will get 500 rupees cashback next time in the bill. But not a single employee told that in the company. You understood what I'm saying, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
That means only really a customer will take the bill and read everything. Correct, no, students?
Yes, sir.
So, students, this is that internal control factors that you need to keep in mind. So, I'll just put that, students. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students? This is an operational issue, but it can turn out to be a strategic issue in the long run. When the customer feedbacks are not going to the top person, this will be a bigger problem later on. It will end up as a bigger problem later on because certain enterprises are very strong in consumer feedback, but certain enterprises are just having that feedback for the name's sake only. Product features. Hottayr is one of the first domestic heat pump manufacturer to offer the option of reversing heat flow, so the house could be cool during the summer months and heated in the winter. Now see, Anushka, the main reason people are happy with heat pump is dual function. Can I quickly go to our weather? Now, if you
Yes,
see
sir.
our weather, heat pump is mostly suited. You get what I'm saying,
Yes,
Anushka?
sir.
Because do you see a minus weather in our country at the moment? Do you
No,
see?
sir.
No, right? We did not experience a minus weather.
Minus
And actually, can you remember it can take around minus 20 Celsius,
20. Yes,
right?
sir.
So, in this probability, a worst case scenario in your examination, very open worst case scenario, will be the climate change. Correct? No?
Change. Yes, sir.
So, students understand it very clearly. The worst case scenario is the climate change. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood that? So, can you remember the industry experts were saying heat pumps are not so efficient? Yeah, it's not so efficient for countries where it is minus degrees. Correct, no, Anushka, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken.
Yes, sir.
So, I will write down here for Noland, heat pump looks good. Can I get a confirmation from your students?
Yes, sir.
Looks good. Now students, you observe one good thing. When we are having a discussion between us, you see we come into a conclusion also. It makes the class more clearer also than having a one-way process. So other students, you can also ask any questions, anything you like in between. So it is very clear that this is the main reason that new homes are preferring to go with heat pumps. And one good thing is, I'll write it down here in our heat pump. Heat pumps have reversing function, have reversing function as well. Students, I believe this is giving a better clarity for the students in the classroom. That is, the reversing function is very mentioned. Okay, now coming to the next one very clearly. So Hottayr's heat pumps can connect to consumers' home Wi-Fi, enabling them to use an app on their smartphone to track the heat energy captured by the heat pump. I think that's a very, very good innovation, correct? No?
Yes,
So
sir.
I'll write down here, I can say it's a strength, Internet of Things in heat pumps. So I'll just write down here one more point, Internet of Things in the heat pump. It's a very good thing. Data reveals whatever the things are done. That data is automatically uploaded to Hottayr, who uses to monitor the use of the performance of the heat pumps. So what happens is, this is one way of feedback tracking. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
That
sir.
is, they can get the feedback even about their product functioning directly to them. That's a good one. Hottayr also uses Wi-Fi connection to upgrade and update operating software in the heat pumps in order to improve the efficiency. So they have updates also. So again, Anushka, do you think this will be a cheaper product or expensive product?
Expensive, sir.
Once again, an expensive product. Very rich people will be affordable to buy this. Consumers must decide whether or not to activate this connection after the heat pump have been installed. Most choose to do so. Activation is a simple process using smartphone to enter Wi-Fi username password. All upgrades are loaded automatically. Anushka, is this good or not good at the moment? I think it's a good point.
Good. Yes, sir.
Any risk do you think that is involved here, Anushka?
Yes,
Any,
sir.
yeah.
Definitely, sir.
What is the risk?
Yeah. So cyber risk is there, sir.
It's I can say instead of cyber risk, privacy risk, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Because students, can you remember that certain apps, when you give access to your mobile phone, it will be getting all the other access also, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, cyber risk, this is the privacy risk of the cyber risk branch. So we need to focus on the branches that is directly affecting here. And students, one more thing I just want to make sure it is very clear. Now, if you observe the upgrades, can there be bugs, Anushka?
Yes,
When they
sir.
upgrade, can there be bugs? Of course, there
Yes,
can
sir.
be bugs as well. So if you do not mind, students, can I just write down some threats if I'm not mistaken? So there can be bugs when the heat pump OS means operating system is updated. Secondly, there can be privacy risk. Privacy risk since the customer's mobile phone can be accessed. Students understand this very, 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 very well. These are implicit data, very, very not direct also. So I'll just highlight this for your point of view. Now moving to the next one. Hottayr's heat pump factory is located in Nolan's Maxtown. Nolan's Maxtown. It employs 2,400 staffs. So I will write down, that means they have another factory for heat pump. So I'll just write down here, heat pump factory at Maxtown, and 2,400 what students? Staffs. So 3,800 plus 2,400, effectively how much students? 6,200 labors. So can I just mention 3,200 plus 2,400, effectively 6,200 factory workers. Students, very, very complicated. Agree, no students, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken, very, very complicated, very big scale also. Hottayr maintains a head office that employs how much students? 2,600 administration staffs and management staff who are responsible for a range of functions that includes accounting, purchasing, sales, human resource, information technology, research and development. The head office is located in the district of Central City. Now, students, I'll write down once again, head office, Central City, and 2,600 staff. Students, 2,600 admin staff. So students, effectively, I think one of the weakness, can I say, too much of too much of staffs, students? Yes or no? Can I agree that, students? Because definitely one internal issue is too much of staff. There can be a proposal requesting you to plan a redundancy plan on eliminating these people from our company. Students, are you understanding the thinking process? Practically consider that. Yes, no, students?
Yes,
There is
sir.
high chances, no, students? Just observe effectively, students. It's a big number, students. Frankly speaking, it's extremely a huge number. For your understanding, I'll just connect it with this, because effectively too much of staff, students. So I think it's a fixed cost, no, students, if I'm not mistaken. You need to pay them every month.
So I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
Like how much? I mean, how do we know like it's too much staff?
Very
Like,
simple. How do we decide it is too much of staffs? Now
yes.
observe it very practically.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see, we have a production process where our product will last for a period of 10
10
years.
years. Yes.
And if you observe a 10 years product, and we have an establishment for almost 70 years, and
Yes.
in the past we would have started with manual labor, but now
Mm.
it is clearly mentioned that all of our operations are automated,
Automated
and we are only using the employees
for
effectively
quality check. Yeah.
for quality checking. And do you feel that due to the high development of technology, the staffs currently doesn't add value to the business. Are you able to observe that point of view? Is that
Yes.
clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Clear, no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So students understand that logical perspective of thinking. That's how happens in the United States. They initially had people and slowly they reduce the number when the technology emerges. Now, that is a basic point of view. The information technology department is nominally under the control of chief financial officer. Now, CFO is controlling the IT department. Can there be something called professional competence? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So, can there be a professional competence issue in this? Definitely no, students. IT person is controlling this factor. So, students, that is the basic point of view. So you will get the understanding very clearly in later. So I'll just make sure that one more weakness we have so that it is very clear. The CFO is leading the IT function, correct? And the question of doubt is, what is the question of doubt? Professional competence. Now, can you remember, Anushka, we were doing a basic application
Yes, sir.
of cyber risk, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, as a CFO, you are going to the technical aspect. So there are high chances that your company will have a bigger threat, if
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
mistaken.
Yes, sir.
The next one, IT staff, the data center is within the head office, supported by a remote backup site at a separate location. Now, this is a traditional way of data management. So can I write down cloud
Clouds.
computing?
Yes.
So students, can I just mention cloud computing? These are internal opportunities for updates. So can I just mention cloud computing? I'll write down here an opportunity. Cloud computing can be used for the data management. Can be used for the data management. Students, I believe you are getting the application point of view very clearly relating to the cloud computing. Can I get a confirmation from
Yes,
you all in the
sir.
chat box?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. IT staff provide programming and data management support for the whole Hottayr. Now, the problem is they are giving the basic of programming and data management. Now, my question is, cyber security support is with whom? Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
So there is no transparency there. So students, if you don't mind, can I write down here in the weakness, the cyber security is not mentioned in transparent manner. Correct, no, students, because there needs to be a transparent manner. At the moment, they are not giving more importance to that only, I can feel. Coming to the next one. Hottayr has three main categories of customers. I told you the customers are different from the other industry. Here, the end user is not our customer. Understand it very clearly, end user is not our customer. So let's go through this. Energy providers such as Nolan Gas, which supply and install central heating system for homeowners. So this is a gas company. And this gas company, what do? They generally recommend the product provided by whom? Hottayr. Agree? Yes or no? So directly it goes into that. Can you all remember, students, this Airtel dongle, Anushka?
Yes,
If you
sir.
see Airtel dongle, actually the manufacturer of that dongle is which company? Huawei. Students, have you observed that? This dongle, everything. So It's like a partnership, I can generally say. So students, I'll write down one very important point as a strength: stable partnership with Nolan gas. Now there is a big question, Anushka. A threat is also there, because heat pumps, do they need gas?
No, sir.
No, we are producing heat pumps also, and
Yes.
the gas boiler sales are reducing. So can they write down here conflicts because of supplying heat pumps to the market? Can that be a issue, Anushka? Later on, yes or no?
Yes,
Because
sir.
now they have given award everything, because their gas is also going with their product. But when the heat comes from, that won't be there, right? They will lose one of their partner. Get
Yes.
that clearly. But these people, they will never lose. Who are they? Large house building companies, not small house building company, large house building companies, which build housing estates that may have hundreds of homes, each of which require a central heating system. They call it as a colony, Anushka. Certain
Yes,
housing
sir.
colony schemes, the private colony scheme. So I'll write down here large house building company. So I'll write down one more, I can say, large house building companies have a direct relationship. Correct, no students, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
The next one, builder merchants who provide for wholesale service for smaller business, such as plumbers, heating engineers, and small house builders who do not order in bulk. So builder merchants are, in simple language, are the distributors. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because they are like the major distributors, like Apple, Imagine, like that. So students, I'm going to write down here builder merchants. So I'll write down one more thing, builder merchants. Get this clearly, students. Large house builders, building company, builder merchants. Builder merchants, in simple language, builder merchants are the distributors in the place or locality. Distributors. I believe everyone is very clear with this explanation. So I'm going forward. Homeowners rarely express interest in brand of the boiler or heat pump in their central heating system. That is true. No? Can you remember, Anushka? When we
Yes,
are
sir.
building a house, you are not concerned about what products you know, because competence is generally less.
Yes, sir.
New homes come equipped with heating systems. Owners who are replacing existing heating system will usually rely on installers to recommend the most suitable heating source. So can I write down one more thing? Installers is another person who is there for us. Agree? No?
Yes, sir.
Installers when there is replacement. When there is replacement. Anushka, do you have a printer in your house?
Yes, sir.
The printer cartridge, are you bothered about brand or whatever they give you will buy? Generally, whatever they give, right? If I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
sir.
So students, they are the installers. Installers often recommend Hottayr's boilers because
Sir,
they have an excellent reputation for quality and efficiency. Yes.
sir, actually, I have a doubt. Like, new buildings are fine. Like, builders put in like whatever builders recommend, like people will take in. But when you replace, don't you think like customers would like to like do some research before replacing the equipment to just make sure that it is safe enough, given that it is very, sensitive?
No, I will to come to this also so that it will be very, very clear for you. We are living in Norland. Norland is a European country, correct, no, Anushka, if I'm not
Yes, sir.
mistaken.
Yes, sir.
In European countries, they don't have grandparents, uncle, aunties living in the house to take care of the house. All are working professionals. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
what happens is they outsource most of their stuff. Even their own children, they outsource to nannies to take care. So they don't have enough time to go through that. But your point of view is correct. In the point of places like India, you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because if you see in India, one person will be dedicated for infrastructure in the house. Correct? No, Anushka.
Yes, sir. Yes,
They
sir.
won't go to work anything. So purely there will be there. In the Western countries, both husband wife goes to work, and the
Yes, sir.
children are also taken care by an unknown stranger only. So in that culture, the installers are more powerful, if I'm not mistaken. And one more thing, Anushka, I want to say, in the developed countries or the first world, you can't do anything without a professional service. Now, example, Anushka, if you
Yes, sir.
see in India, electrician, you can call anyone to your house and they will do and go. Correct? No,
Yes,
Anushka,
yes,
just
sir.
dial. But
Yes, sir.
in these countries, electricians are very expensive. They will ask you a lot of money. They are professional. They charge you per hour. Hourly rates are also there. They just
Okay.
come
Yes,
and
sir.
go also. Inspection charges are also there. So are you understanding? So
Yes, sir.
it is more going with that aspect. So one more thing, you have to manage the installers also.
Yes, sir.
Now moving to the next one. Hottayr's heat pumps are also regarded as offering excellent quality and efficiency, as we already told, because third generation people are still happy. They are quieter in operations than most of the competing brands. So can that be one more thing? Because Anushka, have you seen certain generators noise will be coming? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I'll write down here one more strength I can say. Heat pumps are generally quieter than the competitors' heat pump. Students, I believe that gives you a better clarity at the moment. It's very clear. There is an important consideration because electric pumps used to drive the flow of refrigerants most by running whenever the heating is switched on. So again, students, if you see electric pumps will drive the flow of refrigerants, but here our heat pumps are effectively now whenever running the heat is set. So what happens is, in simple language, it is somewhat controlling that poisonous gas in that. So whatever said and done, this is doing something better and good also. And provided with the word of mouth and the good things that is happening, and if the company produces a little cheaper version, which can be affordable, then I can say, as the government expected, there can be a change in the trend.
Yes,
Hottayr
sir.
exports its boilers to several countries, all of which are in the same geographical region of Nolan, so neighboring countries, I can say. Export sales are limited by the fact many countries have warmer climate, the neighboring countries. So there is little or no demand for central heating system in many part of the world. Makes sense or doesn't make sense? Makes
Makes
sense.
sense.
No, only countries like Canada, northern side of Russia will definitely go with it. So I'll just write down one more point of view in the weakness, if I'm not mistaken. The export market is not so stable as the local market. Correct?
Yes.
In the neighboring countries, because neighboring countries no one will go for I can say central heating system. Now if you see if it is warm only, if it is cold only, they will go for that. Now students, here comes the next one. Hottayr
So,
has, yeah.
so could we say there's an opportunity also because our air pumps work two ways, sir? So in hotter, like in warmer countries, maybe that during they can use it as an air conditioner, like central air conditioner thing. So could we do that? Like just instead of giving two way, can we give just one that produces like it works like an air conditioner?
So they already may have air conditioners, no? Because if you see, there will be specialist air conditional service providers, right? So if they only want cold air, They will always go for the cheapest source, no?
Cheapest.
If I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Basic example I can generally say in India, most of the house have Blue Star AC. Correct? No.
Yes, sir.
Blue Star is produced in India. I think you are aware about that, right?
Yes, sir.
It's not an imported one. So do you think countries like India, when they have their own local cold air producing air conditioners, will they go for an imported reversing air conditioner unless and otherwise there is a need and the price is also affordable? Are you
No.
clear with that?
Yes,
Clear, no?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hottayr has two main rivals, both in Nolan and its export market. So Thermwijk is one of our competitor based in Nolan. It sells boilers and what? Heat pumps which are cheaper and slight less efficient than Hottayr. But the good thing is, Anushka, our country,
Yes,
people
sir.
have a good disposable income, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
So for a 10 years span investment, you will always pay a bit higher and buy. Correct, no,
Yes,
Anushka?
sir. Yes, sir.
Now, basic example, Anushka, in simple language, if you are going to buy a car, you will definitely not buy Mahindra car. Correct,
Yes,
no,
sir.
Anushka?
Yes,
You
sir.
will at least put a 1,50,000 extra, and you will effectively go for Kia, or you will go
Yes,
for
sir.
Honda or a Toyota. Correct, no,
Yes, sir.
students,
Yes,
if I'm
sir.
not mistaken. So get that logic very clearly. So can I write down one thing, a threat, if I'm not mistaken? Currently, Thermwijk is producing low priced AC, but it is not efficient. But can there be a situation, Anushka, Thermwijk has learned their mistake and produce a better quality AC, or sorry, better quality heat pump with the same price they are selling now? Possible or not possible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like how the Chinese mobile companies emerged in the long term.
Yes,
Because
sir.
there was a time period whenever you observe a Chinese brand for an electric item, no one goes forward. Correct, no,
Yes,
Anish?
sir.
But generations have changed, new products have emerged, and people are still feeling it is somewhat worth for money. So can I write down here, Thermwijk producing better heat pumps at lower price. Students, this is the biggest threat. Better heat pump at lower price. Students, this is a very practical situation. And can you remember, students, Google Pixel? Have you heard a mobile phone called Google Pixel, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
Now, Google Pixel is effectively targeting the Apple market.
Yes, sir.
They're trying to somewhat make sure to produce to the range of Apple,
Apple.
but make it little more, I can say,
Cheaper.
affordable and cheaper. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this? Are you okay with this, students? Yeah. Thank you, students. Now moving to the next one, flow nice. The names are important. Thermwide, think about the thermometer. Flow nice, there is something called flow nice also. It also produces heat. So flow nice is based in Iceland, a neighboring country, a temperate country with a climate that is colder than what? Nolan.
Norland.
So indirectly, Anushka, what they are selling here?
That
Yeah, Reshma.
hot air doesn't have much value because they told it doesn't work much in colder regions.
Excellent, correct. So indirectly, they are saying if they are in more cold region, superior than what, students? Hot air products. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? So that is the major idea. So in case if there is a climate change, as a short-term solution, there needs to be someone to partner with. That is Flow Nice. You can work with them. Eastern currencies e-dollars. Flownice is the largest manufacturer of boilers and heat pump in its home country. Although Hottayr also makes some sales in that market. Flownice also exports its broiler to countries in which Hottayr makes sales, including Nolan. Floran products are comparably in terms quality of Hottayr's, but as per my understanding, because of their demand condition, students, there is something called demand condition. They generally say the local condition. Because of their demand conditions of excess cold, I always believe that Flownice may have a better quality. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood this? Because this
Yes,
is one
sir.
factor to consider. Demand condition. Thermwick and Flownice are both more heavily focused on boilers than Hottayr, although each sells its own range of air source heat pump. Now, if you see one thing, game theory. Now, I'll just do a small application of game theory. Can I just do a small application, students? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So if you see, we have competitors. So I'll just go to my writing screen. Here it will be very clear. So game theory is generally developed by United States of America and Russia. I'll just teach you how it works. It's again a business ecosystem continuation only, Wolfgang strategy only. So observe it very clearly, students. So Flownice, and here I'll write down Hottayr. Invent ground source heat pump, okay? And here no invention. Here I'll write down invent ground source heat pump, and here no invention. Now, if you observe Anushka, currently both the companies have not invented the ground source heat pump. Correct,
Yes,
no,
sir.
Anushka?
Yes, sir.
So the current situation here is a Wolfgang strategy. Are you understanding what I'm saying? They are effectively working together because when there is no invention from both the main parties, market will just follow whatever they give. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes
Yes,
or no?
sir.
So market share maintain. Market share maintain. Now, then if you see, heat pump is invented by Flownice, okay? And Hottayr is not doing any invention. So the market will go to whom? To Flownice. Do you see
Flownice.
here?
Yes,
So
sir.
I'll write down here, Flownice will win the game. Agree, no, students?
Yes, sir.
Flownice will win the game. Now you see the next one. Both invent together. Both are what?
Inventing.
Together. Again, the same thing will happen. Market share will be maintained.
Maintain.
There won't be a big market share change. Market share maintained. That means indirectly they are working. But Flownice has not invented anything, but we have invented. That is, Hottayr has invented. So market share will shift to whom? Hottayr.
Hotter.
So did you understand how the game theory works here?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you understanding? So here the first one, invent ground. Flownice is here, invent. Common sense, no invention, this should be obviously invention. So students, are you understanding this point? Can I get a Y in the chat box, students? So this is how they generally make sure things are done in a proper manner. If it is not done like this, students, it's very difficult. But the biggest weakness of game theory is it is ignoring a disruptor, a third party, correct? Like Geo
Yes,
came
sir.
and disrupted the market. So like Geo, someone comes and new innovation takes place. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. Get that understanding clearly. Moving to the next one. Students, if I'm not mistaken, I will just write down here one more thing. Flownice has a better quality product in the market since they have a strong demand condition. What condition, students? Demand condition. Demand condition. Understand it very clearly. The demand condition is very, very, very critical. Very, very critical. The demand condition only will make it. Now, I'll ask a very simple question. If you observe, Anushka, have you traveled to northern India by any chance, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
Have you ate dosa in North India? It won't
Yes,
be
sir. It
tasty.
won't be nice. Yes, sir.
It will be different. Why? Demand condition is not there. Correct, no,
Yes, sir.
Anushka?
Yes,
So
sir.
get that application clearly. Now coming here, the next one, let's work out. So students, shall we start going through the extract of Hottayr's annual report, if you don't mind? Mission,
Yes,
mission
sir.
values. So students, this paper is very important. This section is very important when you are constructing answers. I'll tell you why. There is always a chance of a business proposal. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
That means an expansion project, a new product development like that. So you need to always check whether is it in line with our mission. Are you
Mission.
clear with that?
Yes,
Excellent.
sir.
So a request to the students in the class, if you can take a printout or a screen scrapping of this section and paste it in a piece of paper, it will be really helpful when you are learning. So Hottayr's mission is to establish itself as a trustworthy supplier of excellent heating products. And frankly, I can say for the past 70 years, they have maintained that. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So I can say mission statement is trustworthy supplier, excellent heating product. So students, I believe everyone has got that point of view very clearly. Our vision is to lead more towards zero carbon world. Frankly speaking, this is a very subjective factor because Anushka, carbon emission in this industry, we call that as inherent risk. What risk?
Inherent risk.
Inherent risk. Inherent risk means certain risk
Will
is
always
be there. Now, when you go to KFC, KFC is saying we are trying to protect the chickens in the world. Inherent risk, students, it won't work out, students, because anyway their business definitely needs chicken for growth. So students, are you understanding how the inherent risk works out? So can I get a confirmation from you? So it's a very subjective point, students, because they are saying zero carbon emission. So they need to invent something new, or they need to accept they are working towards it by showing some records. So students, moving to our core values, Hottayr keeps its promises. That is true also, if I'm not mistaken. Hottayr ensures, because I say why, because 10 years guarantee they give, correct? No?
yes,
Why I
sir.
said, but how many years you can use it effectively?
15.
15 years. There are certain products like that, students. Even you would have experience. Like example, I don't know, Anushka, have you heard a product in India called Woodland shoes, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can use it. It will only break your leg. Nothing will happen. So
Yes,
students
sir.
understand it very clearly. So that is the promise they are keeping. So the next one, Hottayr ensures that it understands the needs of the customer and that is responsive to their need. I can say more than the needs of the customers, they are little forward. I'll tell you why. Because of their internet of technology they have, internet of things. Can you all remember, students? Their heat pumps can be connected to the mobile phones. So effectively, I can say it's something factor to be understood. Hottayr is constantly striving to enhance its product, making them safe, efficient, and economical to operate. So students, once again, they are effectively doing that also, because economically, can you remember students, they were saying the gas consumption is comparatively better than the other places also. Hottayr people trust and respect one another. Now, in this case, we already have, if I am not mistaken, students, 2,400 in our heat pump, 2,600 in our factory, and if I am not mistaken, 4,000 somewhat, right? In the
3,000. So I think
3,000,
3,000.
I'll quickly take it. It was somewhere around 3,800. 3,800. So students, 3,800 in people, they are respect each other. So frankly speaking, in a redundancy, respect word they have given means it should be well organized redundancy. Correct? No,
Yes,
Anushka?
sir.
So organized factor is there. Hottayr is a safe and health place at work. This is a question of doubt. Can there be an unseen situation on health and safety factors? Maybe due to automations. There have
Yes,
been so
sir.
many automations have taken place. Machines are working faster. And what happened? One employee went and due to automation, he got injured something. Can that happen, Anushka?
Yes,
Because
sir.
automations don't know anything. They are directly working as per the system instructed. Correct, no, students?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So can I write down here one possible threat, if I'm not mistaken, in simple language? Health and safety issues in the factory due to what, students? Due to automations. Due to automations. Students, this can happen. Anushka, have you seen in super malls or shopping malls, the escalators, some people will be struggling to go out? Have you
Go out.
observed that?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
students, just think a factory is automated. It will be a bigger challenge for everyone. So students, now I am coming for the next one, the board of directors, which I will be doing more in detail now. So students, now the board of directors in this case, I have to be very specific. You need to use your common sense to use the characters in the examination. So I will guide you one by one. Martin Gregory, the non-executive chair. Martin was a leading commercial lawyer. Now the chairman is a lawyer. Why they have kept the chairman as a lawyer? In simple language, industry is very much sensitive. Lion's pride industry, correct or not correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because in a lion's pride industry, the rules and regulations are high or low? Very
No,
high,
sir.
very high. So example, in case if there is a safety issues, legal litigation, it's very easy for the executive board to get the consultation. Yes or no, students? Makes sense,
Makes
right?
sense.
So students, when there is a legal issue, definitely there will be a situation of a legal issue coming in your examination. So in case of a legal issue, you need to know the characters. You can't say we need to hire a lawyer. Do you need to hire a lawyer when the chairman is a lawyer?
No.
No, right? Now, students, that is the biggest mistake students make. They will say, we need to go to a legal consultant. The examiner will tell, come back next time. Your chairman itself is the legal lawyers. You are going for a legal consultant. So, students, legal issue, use him. So, I'll write down here, this guy, you need to use him. So, just make a note of that. He was a partner in charge of a firm for 5 years before he retired. In addition to his role with Hottayr, Martin chairs the board of Norland Opera. Now, my question, Norland Opera, I think when I hear the term opera, is it relating to gas industry, heat boiler industry, or is it an unrelated industry?
Unrelated. It's music.
Unrelated industry, right? Music industry, right? If
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
mistaken, because music industry also, Do they need a lawyer? Yes or no? Copyrights?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, students, copyrights
Yes.
issue, everything will happen. So is this a practical conflict of interest or
No, sir.
no? Students, in which year did they get listed? Can you tell me, students? If I'm not mistaken,
19,
sorry, 1997, correct?
1967, sir.
1967, sorry.
So,
1967. Students, 1967 to 2022, do you think they will be stupid enough to have conflict of interest now, students? Practically think, I don't
no,
think, right? Martin joined the board in 2019, so I think it is his third year in the team. So students, I think it's a good way. So I don't think the Nolan opera will have a direct impact on, I can say, Martin. So students, can we go to Dr. Eva De Walder, the Chief Executive Officer. Now, one factor I can say is the doctorate that person have. We need to check what is the doctorate. Eva is an engineer by profession. Actually, we need engineers. And she, so one thing, it's a female. So this also will be an advantage. Why?
diversity,
Diversity or gender empowerment?
gender empowerment.
Correct, no, students? Gender
Yes,
empowerment,
sir.
no, students, if I'm not mistaken. Diversity means having Africans, having Asians, all that is diversity. So this is, she has a doctorate in mechanical engineering from Nolan's capital city university. So the education is strong. Eva joined Hottayr as a design engineer in 1998. So I can generally say internal recruit, nomination committee. Correct or not correct, students? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Because nomination committee generally will nominate people internally. So I'll write down here, definitely would have come through nomination committee. She played a significant role in the design of Hottayr's heat compound. That clearly shows, right? 1997, can you remember? They developed the first generation. Maybe that time she would have been an intern, something like that, correct?
Yes.
She spent several years at Hottayr's head of research before being promoted as the COO in 2012. She was further promoted as the CEO in 2020. Now, the biggest weakness in this, I can always say, is too much attachment. You understand what I'm saying? Because too much attachment means they will not allow a successor coming forward. Unless and otherwise, the non-executive board is very strong to make sure the powers are controlled. Succession plan. Because see, Anushka, 1998,
Yes, sir.
2012 COO, and further promoted in 2020. So in the seniority positions, she is already there for 8 years
Yes.
as CEO. And here also to 10 years in the position, good, but we need to have a succession plan also. So I can say, other than that, there is not an issue at all. And when there is a new product development, we can get the consulting of something called in SFA, suitability, feasibility, acceptability. We did not mug up this. There is something called technological feasibility, students. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
Now, Elon Musk, everyone, is very good in technological feasibility. They are very poor in financial feasibility. Agree, no, students?
Feasibility.
So, technological feasibility, you can use Dr. Eva. Let's come to the next one. Bogdan Amuzeksu, the Chief Operating Officer. Bogdan joined Hottayr as a management trainee straight after graduating from university. He has held a number of management roles in Hottayr's factories. Factories means he has worked in both the factories. Okay, so that is one good thing. He had risen to the general manager of the boiler factory before he joined Hottayr board in 2020. So again, he is new to the board, but one thing, he has the ground level of experience of managing the staff. So I can say it's also a good point. Elaine Barras, the CFO. Elaine is a qualified accountant, so she can practice. She passed her professional examination while working as a trainee accountant with Nolan Steel. So, steel industry she has worked. She has since held several senior roles in variety of manufacturing companies. Elaine joined Hottayr as the CFO in 2019, 3 years ago. But I can say since she has been working in manufacturing sector, she may have the commercial understanding of what to do in the manufacturing process. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Moving to the next one, Emmanuel Maravaniaka, marketing director. Emmanuel studied marketing at Nolan's Central City University. Since then, he worked for a number of major manufacturing companies, again, manufacturing experience. He took a career break in 2011 to complete his MBA degree at Capital City University, passing with a distinction. Emmanuel worked as the senior marketing manager with Hottayr from 2014 to 20. 6 years he has worked. And he was promoted as the board of marketing director. So students, again, we have a marketing director as well. But the biggest challenge we have is this effectively we need here is relationship marketing. Now, relationship marketing is you need to be giving a lot of gifts to your house builders, Nolan Gas. Are you understanding what I'm saying, dear students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are getting that application clearly? Can I get a Y in the chat box? Thank you. Excellent. Excellent. Professor Amina Rajab, the research director. Now, this is a very, very important person. Why? Because there needs to be inventions taking place every time to be leading in the market. Amina studied mechanical engineering at Central City University. She graduated with honors and was offered a place in the university for PhD program. Her doctoral thesis was on the optimization of heat output from heat pumps in cold weather. So she has already done a thesis for that -20, like that situation, how to increase the heat. She remained at the university and being promoted of professor as engineering in 2012. She was appointed at Hottayr's board. She remains as a visiting professor at Central City University. Now here we have a risk. What is the risk? Any idea, students? There is a risk here. The risk here is she is visiting professor in Central City University. So she may have access to research projects undertaken. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And she may be a research guide also. So example, if there is a new technological advancement taken by the university, she can reveal it to the company. Correct or not correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So can there be a conflict of interest with Amina Rajab because her university projects she can share to our company? Possible or not possible? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I'll write down a thread here if I'm not mistaken. Amina Rajab may have access to research done in the university. Research done in the university. Research done in the university. Therefore, there can be chances. Therefore, there can be chances that conflict of interest. In simple language, I can say confidentiality risk. Yes or no, students? Confidentiality risk. Ethical issue. Correct, no, Anushka? Now, let's assume
Yes, sir.
you are working in a university, they are inventing something and you are revealing that invention to your office mates. Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
So that's a bigger challenge. And she is an executive director also.
Also, yes.
So high level of chances. Akira Akiyama Senior Independent Director. Akira spent his career in corporate finance. So why they are saying corporate finance is, in case if we are going a business valuation, we have a specialist. Are you understanding what I'm saying there? Merger and acquisition, everything, you can get consultation from Akira Akiyama. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Sir.
Working in senior roles in major investment banks. Example, if you want funds, funding strategy will come. So when you want funds, you can ask him, rights issue, bonus issue. Are you clear with that, students? They have the high level of knowledge there. So I believe that is very practical and clear also. Now, the next thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, he developed an interest in funding wind farms and other enterprise that aim to reduce energy emissions. He retired in 2019 and was appointed at Hottayr Senior Independent Director at that time. He is also the director at the Central City Children Hospital. Now, Children Hospital here, do they have any direct relationship? No, Anushka, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? No. In simple language, no. And also, students understand it. He's an investment banker. So, business valuation, he must be there. Patricia and Gopa, independent non-executive director. Patricia had a career in politics. So when you see that, whenever there is a government lobbying everything, who should be used? Patricia. Correct or not correct, Anushka? Yes or no? Because government is a very, very important stakeholder in this case study. We will be learning that in the later, but Patricia is also important because she has a career in politics and she was a member in parliament for the High Town, an industrial town in Nolan for 17 years MP. So it's a bigger profile, correct, no, students?
Yes, sir.
During that time, she served as a junior minister for business. She retired in politics in 2020. She was appointed as non-executive director by Hottayr. She is also non-executive director of television documentary maker also. So students can be, I can say lobbying can come. Yes or no? Media. She can control the media also. Agree or not agree, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
Because carbon emission is one of the major issue that we are facing.
Yes.
So using her influence, she can make sure the media is controlled. Makes sense or doesn't make sense? Makes sense.
Yes, sir.
So understand that very, very well. Ethical issue, everything. So you can meet her in your exam day. She will come to see you all. So I'll write down here, students, ethical issue. This person is a very, very, very dangerous person because she can control the media. She's a politician. So keep that in mind. Yeah, hi to your independent non-executive director. Ye has held a number of posts with Nolan government. Again, a government official. He has served in variety of senior roles, assisting drafting legislation on diverse range of areas, including transport and pensions. So again, drafting legislation in making rules and regulation. So can there be a situation of bribery?
Yes, sir.
Self-interest threats? Yes or no?
Yes.
And there can be one important thing called familiarity threat, because his people will be there in the legislation. Yes or no?
Yes,
So
sir.
even Yehato is an ethical issue. So students, this is one of the major factor. Ye was appointed as Hottayr and retired full-time in 2020-21. So students, are you clear with that? So I'll write down one thing. Patricia can be used to influence government and media. The second one, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, can be used to manipulate legislation. Students, if you are living in India, you know, right, Anushka, how Adani
Yes,
is playing the
sir.
game all. So same thing only happening everywhere in the world. So that only they are teaching now. So students, can I come to the organizational structure? So this is what they have: manufacturing, human resource, financial reporting, management accounting, treasury, and the biggest challenge is information technology. Correct, no, Anushka? Because I think the competence issue is there, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken. So I'll just put a question
Yes,
mark
sir.
here. And a chief operating officer, how many people are working, Anushka? 2,600,
Yes, sir.
2,400,
400,
and 3,300, right?
800,
3,800.
800.
Can CEO maintain a huge number of HRO? This is the right time to have a separate HR. Better to have a separate HR, right, Tanushka? Can one person manage
Yes,
the
sir.
manufacturing process and HR? That is also a big issue. Uh,
Yes,
Emmanuel,
sir.
promotion and advertising, customer relation, promotion and advertising, customer relation. And another thing is, if I'm not mistaken, sales,
Supplier.
yeah, they need to be concerned about the sales also. Professor Amina,
Yes.
product development, certification of new product. And if I'm not mistaken, after product development, certification of new product upgrades, can she also works on product upgrades also, Anushka? Because
Yes, sir.
second generation, third generation product upgrade. Because I am assuming product development means a new product development. So that is
Okay,
what
sir.
my point of view at the moment. And students, one more thing that Amina can be used, since she is in the product development training. Can she handle training? Because her new products, she will be very convenient in giving the training process, right? How to manufacture the product, everything. Can I get that confirmation? Now, one of the biggest weakness in this HR is quality and safety assurance. No one is mentioned, because Anushka, they have just mentioned this company has to be quality and safety, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
just manufacturing only they have mentioned for Bogdan. But do you think quality and safety should be a separate, I can say, function, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken?
Agree, sir.
Agree, no, students? So
Yes,
that
sir.
is also main weakness in this case, if I'm not mistaken. So we can have a separate HR coming into the factor. And students, if I am not mistaken, uh, one thing, Anushka, inventory management, stores, everything can come for the COO, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are the major point of view at the moment. So coming to this one, as I already told you, the board committees, we have auditors, and you see the chairman is in the audit committee. Actually, like you say, in practical, chairman can be, there is no issue, because there are two types of corporate governance. What are the two types of corporate governance?
One is principle based.
One is principle based, and the other one is
One is rule based. Like
rule based.
rule
Now, our
based
company,
on rules.
from which year are we there in the stock market? 19?
1967.
I think we got listed in the year 19,
67.
1967. So 1967 till date, if they're having no issue, now as per the rule base, chairman can't be there. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes or no? As per the rule
Yes,
base,
sir.
chairman can't stay in the audit committee because it will affect the decision making. He's powerful also. Agree. And
Yes, sir.
also, as per the rule base, the risk committee should have executive director. Correct. And the nomination committee also should have executive director. One, because it should be a joint decision. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But if there has been no issues until now, I can say the shareholders are happy. Comply or explain. You understand what I'm saying? So if they are not complaining, that means they are explaining the reason behind. Are you understanding that point of view, Anushka? Are you getting that?
Yes, sir.
So if you observe, a country like UK is always focusing on what base? Principle based.
Principle base.
But United States of America, they'll always focus on what?
Rule.
Rule based. Are you clear with that, Anushka? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hottayr
Sir, so can you explain principle base once more?
Yeah. Now, if you observe, rule based means you need to follow the rules and regulations. And in case if you don't follow the rules and regulations, stock market can take actions on you. Now, we made a judgment here. In 1967, we got listed in the stock market. And according to the corporate governance rules, you need to have an executive director working with the non-executive team in the risk committee, and an executive director working with the nomination committee with the non-executive team. But we don't have that at the moment. So it's a breach of rule. And the second thing is the chairman cannot be a part in the audit committee. The main reason is chairman is very powerful. So it will affect the decision making. It will affect the conversations, everything. So they have breached the rules in 2 sections. But still, they are operating as a listed company from 1967. So indirect meaning is they are not following rule-based approach, because if they are following rule-based approach, they would have faced fines, everything from 1967 to 2022. So they are following principle-based approach. That is like in the UK. That's okay if you don't follow the rules, but you need to explain to the shareholders why you are not following the rules. Are you understanding that point of view?
Yes, sir.
So that is the idea here. So students, coming into the Hottayr's principal risk. So students, let's go through the principal risk. Central heating systems are expensive. And so Hottayr product sales are affected by economic cycles, by consumer confidence. That is true, no, students? When there is a recession, do you think consumers will be able to buy? No, right? So can I write that as a threat if I'm not mistaken? Yes or no? Economic recession taking place. So I'll write down one more thing as a threat. Economic recession taking place in Nolan. Hottayr's board aims to diversify by selling to as many different countries as possible, but I still have a doubt because they have a competitor. Flonice also, right, Anushka, if I'm not mistaken. So is this still a stable risk mitigation? It's a doubtful.
Yes, sir.
And also, if you observe, most of the countries what we sell, they clearly mention it is temperate countries. Temperate countries means generally it doesn't have much cold. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes,
Heat
sir.
is there. So again, this is not the best mitigation strategy. The best mitigation strategy to overcome this is they need to also produce economic heaters also. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So that is one more factor. Like students, if you observe, Toyota Land Cruiser is very premium, but there are Toyota economic vehicle also. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
So coming to the next one. The company is vulnerable to credit risk arising from the fact the customers themselves exposed to fluctuation of the economy and in consumer confidence. Now, one thing that we need to understand is our major customers, that is oil and gas, correct?
Yes, sir.
House builders, large house builders. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the builders, correct?
Yes.
They don't buy our products on cash. It's sold on what? Credit. That is the meaning.
Credit.
So once again, there is a risk of bad debt. So let's see how they analyze that. Hottayr aims to mitigate this risk through diversification across different markets, as well as setting credit limits for existing customers, conducting credit checks on new customers. This is, I can say, a traditional system only. I can generally say. Correct, no, Anushka? Yes or no? Because
Yes, sir.
credit limits and credit checks. But what about a sudden, I can say, default? Can there be a sudden default also? Definitely no, Anushka. Yes or no? That means suddenly a bankruptcy taking place. Possible chances. So, do we have anyone? Now, the question arises here in financial reporting, management accounting, treasury. But who is taking care, if I'm not mistaken, of the APAR, that is accounts receivable, accounts payable? That is not mentioned. So can I just write down here APAR, accounts payable and accounts receivable? Are you understanding what I'm saying, Anushka? Because we have not got any idea about our financial system. Do we have an automated financial system? No information given at all. The next one, cash flows can be volatile because of fluctuation in revenues and also because companies' exposure to currency movement. Now, that is also correct if I'm not mistaken. Hottayr's treasury monitors and manages cash flow and currency exposure, taking appropriate measures to prevent cash deficit and significant currency loss. Now, they are not telling the measures. They have only mentioned what? Appropriate what? Measures. It's a very vague statement. Correct or not
Yes,
correct,
sir.
Anushka? So one more thing, Anushka, is 10 years is our guarantee period. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
So the cash fluctuation is high or less? Very, very high.
Hi.
Because once we sold, it's very difficult to sell it again. Unless and
Yes.
otherwise there is a huge issue. Students, can I get a confirmation from you in the chat box if you understood that point properly? The next one. Companies' employees make a vital contribution to the success. The manufacture quality control of bio and heat requires care and precision. That is true. No? And did we see, do we have a specific quality control and assurance? No, no, Anushka.
No, sir.
It was just mentioned on the manufacturing only, embedded into the manufacturing.
Yes, sir.
But let's observe this. Hottayr's human resource department conducts monthly meeting with employee representatives. Practically speaking, this can end up in slacks. Yes or no, Anushka? Slacks means employees are lazy. Agree or not agree?
Yes, sir.
So definitely they will be happy with what is happening now. They won't give anything new suggestions. Practical.
Yes, sir.
Hottayr provides excellent training and funding for part-time study to enable employees to develop skills in order to seek what? Promotions. So again, a question mark. Do we have a stable HR for the accountability? Because the HR is the person who records this, right? How many CPD attended, the courses conducted. So once again, there is a transparency issue here also. Students, are you understanding that? And moving to the next one. Companies' products require a steady supply of materials, particularly steel, copper, and aluminium. These are the raw materials. These are what? Raw materials. We also make heavy use of semiconductors and other electronic conductors. They create vulnerabilities both in terms of availability and pricing. So students, can I just say here, this is a shortage of the Semiconductors, can there be something like shortage of semiconductors
Yes, sir.
and raw materials? So can I write down here? Raw material shortage, semiconductors, copper, aluminium. Correct, no students? And I think steel is also needed. Agree, no students? Yes,
Yes,
or no?
sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
There's a power cut. Okay. So students, moving to the next one. So Hottayr pays close attention to market for these commodities. The company has developed strong relationship with key suppliers. Are you clear with that, Anushka? Yes
Yes,
or no?
sir.
So they are again saying strong relationship with key
Supply.
suppliers. Strong relationship with key suppliers. So that is one factor to be considered. Key supplier, strong relationship.
Relationship.
Again, it's a vague. And do we know where our suppliers are from?
No.
There may be situation we may have suppliers internationally. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So we may have been exposed to the threats also. Moving down, the company is vulnerable to changes in legislation relating to emissions, safety of gas appliances. So again, legislation risk is there. That means the government rules and regulation. Hottayr more than fulfill all applicable legal requirements for emission and safety in the country to which it makes. Hottayr pay close attention to any proposed changes in law, working with government agencies around the world to ensure any proposals are realistic or proportionate. Now, one thing, students, they are working with international agencies. They are saying in simple language, they are critically mentioning this as lobbying. What is this, students? Lobbying. That means they are influencing. Where necessary, Hottayr alters the design of its product to ensure that their performance exceed forthcoming changes in the law. So they are always forward looking in that point of view. Consumer demand for central heating system is affected by environmental concern. Again, environmental plays a major role. Hottayr products are designed to be forefront for efficiency, aiming to minimize the emission and carbon and of harmful refrigerants in the operations. Hottayr aims to educate consumers about the environmental belief of replacing outdated gas boilers with newer model with heat pumps. So they are just giving it. But one of the main weakness of this risk analysis is all the points that they have mentioned is generally, I can say, a vague statement. Are you understanding that, Anushka?
Yes,
Can I
sir.
get a confirmation? Thank you. So students, let's finish the other one also so that it will be better. So this is the analysis of the revenue. Even our company, if you see in 2021, heat pumps. Now see 2020, you can observe heat pumps is growing 55%. And you can see there is a growth in heat pumps. Correct, no, Anushka, if
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
mistaken. Yeah. Share price history, we will do it in the financial analysis class. Now, news stories. Now, students, when coming to news stories, what I can generally say is the following. These are external data. What data?
External data.
External data. Now, students, this external data, the purpose is it gives you two outcomes. One outcome is it gives you about the threat. The other outcome is it gives you about the opportunities. So let's start analyzing this in more detail. Reader's question. I'm worried about the environment and have been asking my parents to replace our gas boiler with solar panels. They say solar panels would not heat our house properly. Is that true? And I think we also know the answer. We need sunlight, right, Anushka, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken. So you can also think very clearly as a finance manager. The question is very clear about
Yes,
the
sir.
question. It's good that you are talking about climate change seriously, but it is true that solar panels cannot completely replace boilers in Nolan. Solar panel rely on heavy plenty of direct sunlight and heat water that runs through them. There is no sunlight at night and sometimes very little during the day. For example, when it is cloudy. In countries like Nolan, solar panels only work as a supplement to heat sources such as boilers. They can provide hot water for bath, shower, and cleaning during summer, but you would still need additional heat source in winter, especially if you plan to have central heating. There are also practical issues such as whether your house has large enough roof for solar panels. You consider asking your parents to install a heat pump. This would cost more than solar panels, but heat pump can gather heat outdoor on the coldest and the darkest day and would completely replace your gas boiler. So even the newspaper articles, they are effectively telling to shift to heat pumps. Are you clear with that? Yes
Yes,
or no?
sir.
So that is a good thing. So I'll write down one, I can say, if I'm not mistaken in the opportunity, market learning about heat pumps. Market learning about what?
Heat
Heat
pumps.
pumps, where future demand can happen. Students, I believe that is very, I can say, clear in that point. Yeah. Now moving to the next one. Happy Place comic readers question. My parents had a heat pump installed in our house. So far, it worked really well. The house is as warm inside as it was when we used gas boiler. And there is always plenty of hot water for shower and washing up. So it's good one way, a good start. The weather has been very cold recently. I'm worried that there won't be any heat outside for heat pumps to capture and keep our house warm. Now, this is the climate change factor. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Because in simple language, they are giving the idea that there is a possibility of a climate
Climate
change
change.
taking. Now, let's come to the response so that it will be very clear. Oh, you should be okay even on the coldest day. Heat energy makes particles of gas, liquid, and solid materials vibrate. The hotter they are, the more they vibrate. The vibration slows as things get colder, but it only stops completely when they reach absolute zero, equal to minus 273 degrees Celsius. So the question arises is, I don't think our country has experienced a 0 degrees climate until now. Correct, no, Anushka?
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no? But may experience. We don't know. In theory, there is heat energy that can be captured all the way absolute to zero. In practice, heat pumps run into mechanical difficulties. If temperature falls below minus 1,
15.
15 degrees. But it never is quite cold in what? Nolan. That's the judgment now. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Judgment is that, but we don't know what can happen. Your new heat pump will reduce your family's carbon footprint and it's capable of keeping you warm right through what? Winter.
Winter.
So it's a very, I can say, a neutral response. So I'll just write down one more factor also. The climate change possibilities in which country? Nolan. At the moment, they are not going for minus, but can happen. Coming to the reader's comic, the next one. Question. My parents bought a new freezer recently, a refrigerator, and the shop asked if they want to pay extra to have the refrigerant from their old one removed and recycled. That is that poisonous gas inside. They agreed, even though the recycling was expensive. Because people in the shop that sold the freezer said, letting the refrigerant escape is extremely harmful to the environment in terms of global warming. So, one thing I can say, my question is, why don't we use something else that would be less damaging to the environment? That is a good question. Now, one more thing, if there is nothing, government can give incentives for recycling. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Government can give. If government is not giving, Hottayr can voluntarily take that responsibility. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Because they can bear that cost. Although they are bearing that cost, still it is a positive, I can say, publicity
Publicity. Yes, sir.
they are generating. Now let's come to the answer. Answer is stating it is true. Hydrofluorocarbons that are released when old fridges and freezers are scrapped carelessly are among the most damaging greenhouse gases. They do a great deal of harm when they are released into an atmosphere. And so the advice that your parent received was correct. There are alternatives to HFC that are less harmful to the environment. Alternatively, they have other drawbacks. For example, propane. So I'll write down the name also. Propane is effective refrigerant, but it is highly flammable if it escapes. So it has a flammability. That means in case something wrong happens, there'll be a fire. Ammonia is another alternative that works well, but poisonous concentration. So I'll write down here ammonia. What is this? Poisonous. So until now, there is no proper alternatives for refrigerant. So can I say, as an opportunity, research for can be conducted for a better refrigerant. Correct? No?
Yes, sir.
No? Better refrigerant. This can generate a competitive advantage. This can generate a competitive advantage. Now, students, the next one. This is the most, I can say, anticipated one. Indian government commits net zero by which year? 2040.
2040.
What is our current year?
2022.
By 2040, I think our board will change. Correct? Can
Yes.
our board be there? The current board will be changing. One thing. The second thing that can take place is we don't know. There can be a government change. Possible or not possible?
Yes, sir.
So even that is also not possible. So board will change. There will be a government change also. And by 2040, there can be climate change also. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So before they come up with zero carbon emission, automatically world will end also. So students understand it very clearly. It's a long-term risk. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes or no? It's a long-term risk. So you need to strategically design something and go ahead with the long term. Now see here, Nolandian commits to zero. Noland government has announced an ambitious plan to reduce country's greenhouse emission to net zero. I think it's an ambitious plan only. Inherent risk. Correct me if I'm
Yes,
wrong.
sir.
So inherent risk. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and hydrofluorocarbons that are used as refrigerants have been blamed for phenomenal global warming. That is true. The release of those gases in the atmosphere affects the earth temperature by absorbing heat energy from sunlight. Now, one thing, Anushka, refrigerants is available in heat pumps or heat boilers?
Heat pumps.
Heat pumps, no?
Yes, sir.
So students understand it very clearly. It's heat pumps. The current trend. Agree, no, students? Yes or no? The
Yes.
current trend. So there are chances that heat boiler can come once again as a reversing strategy as well. So government's net zero commitment requires massive reduction in emission level. The remaining emissions will be offset by initiatives such as planting trees, which capture carbon from atmosphere while they are growing.
But sir, still if you take gas boilers, it still emits more carbon, no, sir?
It emits more carbon, but not hydrofluoric gas, right? If I'm not
Sir,
mistaken.
but they said that if it is like recycled properly, or we could reuse it as well. So
But do
should
they have a proper compliance standard for that? That is one good question. But you are correct. In case if they have a process of after sales commitment,
yes,
correct.
sir.
You are correct. That is a good solution. Now, one thing, Anushka, if you observe,
Yes, sir.
here they are very specific on hydrofluorocarbon. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because carbon emission is generally emitted not only through our product, everyone is emitting.
Yes,
Agree,
sir.
Anushka? But
Yes, sir.
hydrofluorocarbon is specifically on heat
Heat.
pumps.
Okay. Yes.
This legislation will have a huge impact on many aspects of daily life. For example, the government will ban sale of new petrol and diesel powered car by which year? 2035.
35.
As one step towards meeting what? Net zero target. So again 2035. Again how many years, Anushka? 13
Almost
years.
13 years.
And again, do you think is it possible if I'm not mistaken?
No, no,
No.
sir.
So I'll write down here government initiative to have net zero carbon emission. Net zero carbon emission. I believe it is very clear for the classroom at the moment. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you are fine with this, I think we have
Yes,
done a
sir.
very, very strong, I can say, SWOT analysis. Anushka, did I miss anything in the SWOT analysis which you have written in your one? Anything?
Not
Or
really, sir.
not really? No, I think everything is covered. No, students. Students, anything I missed, you can let me know. But I can feel most of the things are covered at the moment, if I am not mistaken. So students, I believe I'm getting some comment. Where can we download this document? Google Classroom. I upload it right in the Google Classroom classwork section. You go, you will be able to download it. I'll just show that also. Okay, I believe you are aware about it. So students, a question and answer session. Anushka, any questions for the day?
No, sir.
Thank you. Nelu, any
Thank you, sir.
questions for the day? Obey, any questions for the day? Priscilla, any questions
No,
for the day?
no questions for me.
Reshma, any questions for the day?
No questions, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Keetiswaran, any questions for the day? No, no. Okay, so thank you very much, students. We'll meet up on the Sunday morning class, 10:30 a.m. So
Thank
wishing
you,
you a
sir.
happy new year, students. I'll see you on the new year class.
Wish you Happy New Year, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.